So Battlefield 1's been out for around a whole month now. We, as the community, have had enough time to get stuck into the game and form our own opinion, to gain a general impression of what works, what doesn't work, and how things should be changed moving forward. DICE have been listening to us. They've been far from sitting on the backsides for the last few weeks, and on the 15th of November, we actually got our first big patch for the game, and this changed a lot of things, and I mean a lot of things. It'd be really silly to go over every single change implemented in this patch, so instead, we're going to go over the most important ones that you need to know in order to keep up with the meta. Operations has been targeted pretty damn heavily by this patch, more so than the other game modes in the game. It became apparent beforehand that the attackers were pretty underpowered, so a good 70 to 80 of my matches were ending with the defenders winning. So to give the attackers a helping hand, the ticket count has been raised from 150 to 250 in 64-man operations. This is now called Grand Operations, by the way, and from 150 to 200 in 40-man operations, now simply titled as Operations. Operations is now the default mode, whereas you have to manually select Grand Operations in the menu if you want to play that. Hopefully this should help normal operation servers get more populated and help players just understand how drastically better Operations is compared to Grand Operations. As well as ticket boosts, flags now take less time to capture, meaning that assaults launched by the attackers needn't be as long lasting as before. When a sector is taken, the minimum amount of tickets regained has been upped from 30 to 50 to give attackers a helping hand when maintaining momentum throughout the match. Many matches resulted in the attackers having loads of tickets to begin with, but then barely having any towards the end because they've all drained as the match has progressed. This change should help tickets stop draining as quickly and should prove useful to helping the attackers have more of a fighting chance in each match. Bear in mind that this change is only for Grand Operations, however, Standard Operations is still at a standard of 30 minimum. The tickets regained by killing retreaters has been buffed from 2 to 3, which might not seem like much, but it makes a subtle enough difference to have a meaningful impact on the balancing of the mode. Overall, these changes should prove to massively improve the balancing of operations so that the attackers are more effective. Whether these changes are effective enough or even too effective, we're going to have to wait and see whether any new glaring issues appear over the next few weeks. Conquest has also seen some significant changes, not so much in terms of balancing. I mean, you'd have thought it'd be nearly perfect since it's been in so many previous titles at this point. These changes are more map specific. Suez has seen a flag count increase from 3 to 5, so now there's an extra flag at either end of the map, one up on the hill and one in the dunes below. These are areas that you'll recognise if you've played a lot of Rush or Operations, as these areas are explored a lot more in these two game modes. The capture area of Flag A and Flag B has also been reduced to make capturing them a lot less trivial, as before you'd end up going full SWAT team trying to breach and clear the 5 or 6 buildings that enemies could be sitting hiding in. It made it quite irritating. Hopefully, Conquest matches on Suez will flow a lot better now, with players spreading out across the larger map area and flags being slightly more easy to capture. Again, this is something that will be tested and monitored over the next few weeks by DICE and the community themselves. There's also been some big changes to the main menu. The class customization has been added as an option from the main menu, so that you can now adjust loadouts without even having to join a server or by logging into the website. Every option you would expect to be is here, so anything you can customize through the usual menu can also be customized here. It's essentially the same menu, just accessed from a different location. I know a lot of people were missing out on this feature at launch, but those people can now relax a little now it's been fully implemented into the game. Other changes to the main menu include the addition of custom games and server rentals. Server rentals are a tad controversial at the moment, since a lot of people don't seem to agree with their price or their functionality, since a lot of what we're used to having access to is still missing, but at least they're there for those of us who wish to use them in their current state. Users can customize the name, the map rotation, the game mode rotation, as well as some other gameplay settings, but there's currently no way to restrict certain weapon variants or to add a password to the server itself, features that are essential for things like professional events and tournaments. I wouldn't fear too much, as an entry to the Battlefield 1 news thread back in July by DICE themselves stated that they would be limiting the system in its infancy to ensure stability, and that they would then expand from there on with extra functionality and UI changes being implemented later on down the line. Going back to custom games, these are almost like preset variations upon standard game modes. At the minute we have Hardcore and Fog of War, both essentially play out exactly the same as standard game modes, but with certain variables like player health and UI elements being tweaked slightly. There's already a few of these servers appearing in the browser, so make sure to give them a go if you're up for something a little bit different. There's been a few changes to the squad leader system, which has also been implemented with this fall patch. These were desperately needed in my opinion. The amount of incompetent squad leaders that I've come across since launch is actually pretty ridiculous. Now, if a squad mate requests orders and the squad leader doesn't respond with those orders within 60 seconds, the squad leader rights will be transferred to the requesting player. This is essentially to help prevent incompetent or ignorant squad leaders from having squad leader rights, and in theory it should work pretty well. The only flaw in the system I see is that the squad leader could accidentally set an order by trying to spot an enemy by accidentally pressing Q on an objective, which is something that I know I've done multiple times as the squad leader, but doing this while somebody is requesting orders when the squad leader didn't intend to give orders is going to cancel out that squad leader queue. So it's not really a massive issue, I'm sure it won't happen that often, but it's just something that crossed my mind. The final changes of note are that the quit button is now available at all times during the end of round screen. You don't have to proceed to the next map in rotation before being able to leave the match. This is an incredibly welcome change and it's going to save everybody a lot of time and frustration. XP boosts have now been introduced to the weapon crate system, and they work a little bit differently to how they have done in previous titles. Once the 100% XP boost is activated, you and your squad mates will all benefit from the percentage boost. I think this is a great idea as it incentivizes people to get in a squad and play as a squad to reap the frankly immense XP rewards. These boosts last for 60 minutes of in-game time, but it's not yet clear if they stack, so that if more than one person in a squad has a boost, it's not clear as to whether the boost will affect each other and grant even more XP, although I doubt it will, since the amount of XP gained would be pretty ridiculous otherwise. Imagine combining a 200% XP boost during double XP weekend. You're getting into that sort of territory if 4 or 5 people tend to have a 100% XP boost activated all at the same time. It might be a while until you start to see some of these boosts yet, as they seem to have the same rarity as the melee weapon puzzle pieces, but make sure to keep an eye out for an open squad with an XP boost, as it will work wonders for helping you reach max rank more quickly. That's all of the important stuff covered. One final thing to note is that this patch addressed the support weapons, and although that they've been tweaked slightly, I'm still not sure that they've been tweaked enough. While support weapons were buffed in terms of suppression and accuracy, they still don't do very much damage over even short ranges, and the damage still drops off very quickly after 20 meters or so, meaning that the support weapons are still likely to be much less popular than the weapons available in other classes. I still think that the support class needs a lot of love in order to make it more viable, but we'll have to wait for further patches in order for those changes to come through. The full patch notes are linked in the description below for you to flick through at your own leisure. However, be warned, they are akin to War and Peace in terms of length, so they aren't really for the faint of heart. However, if you're dedicated enough to read through them in their entirety, then you'll be up to date on the massive amount of changes that have been made to the game, because there are just way too many to cover all in one video. The ones I've talked about today are just the most important ones that will affect the game-to-game gameplay the most. If you have any questions about these patch notes, make sure to tweet me over on Twitter, I'm at MajorMeteor, or leave them in the comments below, I'll be sure to reply to you. Thank you very much for watching this video, I really do appreciate it. I know I've been a little bit sporadic in terms of uploads recently. That's mainly due to time and availability, which coming into the Christmas months, hopefully things should die down a bit and I'll have a little bit more time to work on some good content for you. To make sure that you never miss anything, make sure that you go over to my channel and right next to the subscribe button, hit the little bell icon and make sure that you enable notifications for my channel. That means that if you have a mobile phone or an email address, you can activate notifications, so you'll get an alert on your phone or an email telling you that I've uploaded a new video. I know that the subscription boxes on YouTube have been a little bit hit and miss for quite a lot of people recently, so just to make sure that you never miss an upload, make sure you go through all of those steps. Again, thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, and I shall catch you in my next video.